Welcome to Seminar Sunday, District 21's weekly episodic review of various programs and solutions that can help you manage your club and manage your business within the Toastmasters realm. This week's special is, this week's meeting is about beating the clock and various membership building campaigns. My name is Sean Gold, District Director for District 21, and with me we have the Club Growth Director, Jan Ireland, DTM, and the Program Quality Director-elect to help out with tonight's meeting on beating the clock and on membership building programs. So please welcome Jan Ireland. So Jan, you want to say a couple of words before we jump in?
Yes, it's a wonderful opportunity to talk to everyone tonight. This is a subject that has a primary importance, club quality and members. Without each, we would not be having a very interesting time.
And thank you for joining. Okay, appreciate that. So we're going to go through, tonight's meeting is about building membership, and we're going to talk about a few programs. But before we get into it, I wanted to talk a little bit about the objectives for tonight. And the objectives in this call are to learn why we need to build membership, understand the membership goals for the Distinguished Club program, know the membership programs and how you and your club can benefit, find many ideas, hundreds and hundreds of ideas for membership building, and identify the resources that are available on the Toastmasters website. If there's anything else you'd like to know about or discover from this session, please jump in. We do want this to be interactive with the opportunity for people to speak along the way and provide input and ideas, challenge Jan and I and yourself, if necessary, on ways that you can help build stronger memberships within your clubs. So those are the objectives. Let's just take a look at why we build membership. Now, I've heard people say our club is the right size. We don't need any more members. We're happy. We're a good group that works together, and we don't need a lot of help or any additional people because we have a good thing going where we're at. And they may be sitting at 10, 12 members, and they're happy with having their group the way they are. So the question that I often get asked is, why do we need to build membership? And we have some ideas here. And Jan, do you want to talk about some of these ideas as well? You want to jump in on the first one about a healthy club?
Yes, as far as active meetings are concerned, we need an audience when we speak. That's one of the advantages of joining Toastmasters, that a person gets a chance to speak to a group, and if it's the same 3 people week after week, it's not the same dynamic and excitement of a meeting where you have 12 or even especially 20 people in the room. It ups your game if you have more people there. I think that it makes you realize you have something of importance to impart at the meetings, and you give more value and receive it in return because you get more varied comments, varied diversity of members in your club, and I think it makes it far more interesting and exciting and more worth the experience.
I love that comment, by the way, because one of the things that, for those of you who were at the district conference in April in Langley, we had earlier this month, I guess, a couple weeks ago, we had the contest winner for the International Speech Contest, Stefano Casalter. He made a comment in his speech. He was a humorous comment about that he was a competent communicator. He had been designated by Toastmasters International as being a competent communicator, and he had spoken to crowds as many as 7 people. And yet, then when he was asked to give the toast to his mother for her birthday, and he opened the door and there was 200 people in the audience, he was struck with stage fright and wasn't able to overcome it. So yes, having a larger crowd does make it. It takes it from being that small, intimate group which you're just talking to a bunch of friends to being a larger group, and it becomes, the pressure is a little higher, and you're not just talking to the people that you know, that you're friends with on a weekly basis, and you know from week to week very closely, but you're talking to potentially strangers, and that adds to the challenge of growing as a public speaker. It helps you grow as a public speaker. So I like that comment as well. Now, one of the other, I think ideas is having that diversity. I like that idea about diversity. And one of the things is having the new ideas and having, you know, just a variety of ideas within the club. I think that's very, very powerful and very important to have. Did you want to add further to that, Jen, or do you want to jump on to the...
Sufficient officers. Right now is the time where our clubs are challenged with the opportunity of selecting new officers. We know that each year a new president is going to be elected by our club. We need to give people opportunities to serve in these roles. There are 7 executive roles altogether, and each one of those roles adds a real element of quality to a club. And I encourage people in a club to volunteer for any one of the roles, because they each have a different purpose. And the more people that sit together as leaders in a group, the more innovative ideas we come up with, the better we can plan for our futures, and the more we have a notion of teamwork in our club.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. This, as you point out, this is that time of the year where we have club elections. We need to have club elections, the first meeting in May. Now that's next week, or part of next week is going to be the first meeting in May for some clubs. And they need to look at, do we have the membership to support a full suite of 7 club officers, plus having officers that are willing to, or non-official officers, but members who are willing to support some of those officers. For example, I've spoken before about the onerous and somewhat ominous task of being a vice president of education. I think that's the most fruitful role of any member, to be that vice president of education, because it is the most powerful role. It has a lot of responsibility, but you also see members grow and blossom as a result of the work that you do. But it shouldn't just be the vice president of education that does all of the tasks and roles associated with the vice president of education. So you need to have members who are willing to be assistants and help out, maybe with building the schedule, maybe with managing the mentors and mentorship program, and various other roles. So coming up with the weekly results from our newsletter items about what happened during the previous meeting. So things like that are roles that you can have that you need other members in your club to do. And so having just 7 or 8 members or 10 members in your club isn't sufficient. And having people who are have taken on the role before several times, or taken on these club officer roles, they need a break. So having new members come in is a really important thing. So having that flexibility by having new members in your club is an important aspect to take that load off. Now, one of the other things is that that we all have heard, hopefully, that there is an expected attrition rate, which we see within Toastmasters International globally, of about 40% on an annual basis. We see members who will join, and they may be a member for a year or so. They've figured out what they need to do, and they've learned some of the skills, the basic skills of overcoming the fear, or whatever the reason was that they joined Toastmasters to overcome or to improve on, and they feel that that's happened. So you get people who've completed the goals that they wanted to, that were looking to do. We've got people who've had a job transfer or changed jobs and are no longer able to join Toastmasters, come to Toastmasters meetings. And you just have this standard attrition that's going to happen, that's out there, that we need to take into consideration. When you have that attrition, you need to look and say, what can we do to fill that vacuum? So if you have a 40% attrition, then you're going to have a significant impact. Now, as we know, a healthy club is designed to have about 20 members. And when you have a 40% attrition rate, that works out to how many members, Jan?
I'd say 8.
And what's the DCP goals for membership?
One goal is to get 4 new members, and a second goal is to get another 4 members.
So the goals
work on a master plan.
Yeah, so it kind of works out pretty nice that the plan is that if you, for a DCP goals, that there are 2 goals associated with membership. The intent is to get 8 new members, and you achieve 2 goals. And that is expected that if you had 20 members, you'd typically have that attrition of 40%, lose 8 members, which means that if you got 8 new members back, you're holding on to your membership base. And that's one of the reasons why that number is there. Oh, a couple other things that I found in my own reflection that about why we need new membership is that, why we need to go out and build membership and looking at getting the message out there, spreading the message out. And that's around the understanding or concept that we know about Toastmasters, but how did we find out about Toastmasters? And if we truly believe that Toastmasters enables us to become better or has enabled us to become better at our job, better public speakers, and for other reasons other than work related, then it's sort of an expectation or an obligation that we should share that information to others and let them know. It doesn't mean that we have to go out there and actively recruit, but people deserve to know about Toastmasters. It's just a key thing that we should let them know that we're out here, we provide that service, we provide that value to people who want to improve their public speaking skills and or leadership skills. And so it's kind of an obligation to do that. So I think that's another area about why we ought to be out there getting the message out. And if people want to join, that's great. If they decide that they don't need that, yeah, no big deal. It is what it is. And then the other aspect that I looked at was around building belonging to a distinguished club. Now, Jan, you're a member of how many clubs right now?
2.
Are they
Regular club and an advanced.
And are they regularly distinguished?
The last 2 years, my home club has been distinguished. This year, I'm not too sure because we need 6 more members by June 30th. It's been a bit more challenging this year. My advanced club has been also distinguished for the last 2 years and has already reached president's distinguished status for this year. Lots to celebrate.
What's the difference between a distinguished club and one that's not? What typically do you see as the differences between the 2?
I see the one club where people show up and they're looking for some stage time. They're looking for an opportunity to be with a group of people, but they're not as interested in fulfilling the obligations or their opportunities of the program. And I think they're very short-sighted in that way. There lacks an enthusiasm in the group and a feeling of purpose. I think I see that difference between my 2 clubs.
But and I agree with that, by the way. What are the things that prevent a club from becoming distinguished? Or one of the things that hampers it, makes it difficult to become distinguished?
I think lack of teamwork. That particular club has not had executive meetings this year, and so they don't have a focused plan. So it's a good club. They have a lot of very dedicated members, but without that inspiration that they would give to some guest that might join us, it's going to be more difficult for us to obtain new members. You have to keep up the new member building.
But so it is the membership numbers that are the ones that hold them back, not the education goals or any other aspect?
Well, they do have education goals because the Vice President of Education has worked very hard to make sure to work with individuals to let them know what they can accomplish. And so our goals, yes, we have, I think 9 goals already met, but without getting 6 new members, then our club doesn't have the vibrancy.
Right. And I think that's one of the key areas. What I found, and where I was going with this is that if you have the members, and I belonged to clubs that had 30 members. I belonged to clubs that have 6 members. Well, that had 8, had the minimum now. And I gotta tell you that when you're belonging to a club that has 20 to 30 members, it's a lot different club. It's, you know that you're not under the gun to have to give a speech every week or have to do a major role every week. And if you take a week off to go on vacation, you don't feel like you're abandoning your club and making them have to do all the work on their own. Individuals, or that, you know, the club meeting would be significantly less with you not there. So the pressure on an individual is higher on a club that's very small, on the small numbers, and the ability to become distinguished is a significantly easier for a club that has 20 to 30 members than it is for a club that has 10 to 15 members on an average. I mean, they may get their 20 members at the end of the year, but it's a real challenge to get those education goals, to get them in early. It's a challenge to get all the things that you need to do and run efficiently and have I agree with you. I think to have a vibrant club, you need to have a good, healthy number of members. And that is typically between 20 and 30 members. And you've got a strong club, and becoming distinguished on an annual basis becomes a heck of a lot easier.
I have another idea, Sean.
Yes, Micah.
You need prepared speeches.
Absolutely.
If you do pocket speeches, no, you cannot go up.
Yeah, so you got to work the program.
Yeah, you have to work, exactly. You have to work the program.
And people have to be recognized for achieving those goals. I know that's something that you do within the club, your club. If you work the goals, if you recognize achievement when somebody completes a level or completes on the traditional system, a CC or an AC, advanced communication level, and if you recognize those people when they completed that, they feel good about themselves. And that's one of the things I like about Pathways, is that it's a lot easier to hit those milestones, and you should be recognizing the people that do so in a public way and showing that they've completed their level 1, their level 2, and recognize the achievement that they've made. Celebrate it so that share that and everyone else can join in the celebration.
Yes, and I agree with Micah that a speech is not a speech, it's a project, a learning opportunity, and a speech is part of that. And the better you do at taking in the full opportunity for that, the more rewarding it is to you for having accomplished it.
Absolutely.
Because you have to prepare, you have to practice. If you just do a speech, so you have the point, it's not the same.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have some ideas around why we should be building membership? You can unmute yourself. Michael, yes, I see you've unmuted. Oh, let me just typed in the chat. Okay, we're going to do it in the chat. Yeah, exactly. Less double duty in the meeting. I agree with you wholeheartedly. It makes the job of being a member of the club a lot easier, and that you don't have to be on the hook to do something major every week. I don't mind doing a role, being an evaluator, or doing a table topic master, or even doing some other roles. But to have to give a speech, or to be a chair, or to be a general evaluator every week, that puts a lot of pressure on you. So yeah, less double duty in the meeting, and then you only have to do one role, preferably in a meeting, rather than having to do 2 or 3 different roles in a meeting. Yeah. Thank you, Michael. Oh, that was from Lisa. Sorry. Beg your pardon. Anyone else want to jump in?
I just want to say, if you've got small membership, you don't have to do double duty, the small roles, because they were made it for large clubs. So you just do the main roles. So you don't have to do double duty.
You still have to do certain roles, but yeah.
Oh yeah, certain roles, of course. But you know, when we were 4 of us, we would do speeches, and we would do evaluator and chair.
That's right. That's a good way to do it. Cut down the number of roles.
Yeah. I think that's organization, and I also find that not so much in my one club. We run out of time because we did the laugh counter and the smile story, et cetera, et cetera. And then at the end of the meeting, oh my goodness, the evaluations don't have as much time as they deserve.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I see Celine was unmuted.
Yeah, you were unmuted for a minute there, Celine. Did you want to comment?
Maybe next.
Okay, we're going to jump on to the next slide. So we're going to talk about some of the membership building programs that currently exist. Now, Toastmasters has a calendar of these membership building programs, and it's a calendar specifically designed to continue to promote membership building throughout the year and give some recognition throughout the year. So the one that we wanted to talk about first was a club outreach program, which was started last year. And Jan, do you want to talk about this program?
Yes, this program was devised last year and continued this year, and it's for any club. All clubs were entered, and any clubs that had 3 brand new Toastmasters, not dual or reinstated or transferred, but brand new Toastmasters who joined between July 31st and July 1st and March 31st, and those members also renewed in April. Those clubs were entered into a draw, and there was a massive trophy that was presented at the district conference, and the club with the highest growth received the trophy. And yes, so that last statement is.
And who was the winner?
That was Kelowna Toastmasters, 2796. So,
oh, here you go.
There I am with Pam presenting the trophy. There are some really cute postings on Facebook with Pam and her club and the way they've been able to celebrate this success.
Yeah, that's a big trophy, by the way, a very big trophy. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the some of the other programs. So that's one that has passed, but there's still a bit of an extension on that one. And what are you saying?
Yes, all clubs who are entered again for the club that earns the highest percentage of increase in membership numbers from July 1st will be entered into another draw, not for a trophy, but for an incentive for the club.
There you go. So these are some of the other membership award programs that took place earlier in the Toastmaster year. And we just wanted to point out that that we do have programs throughout the year, and they have a finite period trying to achieve a certain goal and also build some excitement and interest in building awards. So we had the Smedley Award that went from August 1st to September 30th. Again, it was looking at adding 5 new dual or reinstated members, and it's named in honor of Ralph Smedley, the founder of Toastmasters. And it says that qualifying clubs can earn a special discount. Besides getting a ribbon for their banner, they can also earn a special discount for 10% off on their next club order. So that's a pretty good award. But that one's already passed. That ended in September. The next one is the Talk Up Toastmasters one, which went from February 1st to March 31st. Again, looking at adding 5 new dual or reinstated members. And they receive a special Talk Up Toastmasters ribbon for the banner, and qualifying clubs also get a special discount for another 10% off their next club order. So those are programs that have happened in the past already this Toastmaster year. We try to have a special membership building program at different times throughout the year. We have a different theme for it, but it's essentially trying to get those members and having with special awards that clubs can get for the number of members they get during that specific period. Now, the one that I wanted to spend a little bit more time on is the one that's about to start. This one starts May the 1st and goes to the end of June. So Jan, you want to talk about this one?
Yes, this is the third
Here we go.
initiative from Toastmasters International. Again, you need to enroll 5 new dual or reinstated members between May 1st and June 30th. I would like to remind everyone, when they talk about the deadline date for getting them submitted, they said they must be submitted no later than June 30th. In actual fact, the deadline is normally midnight, but since since Toastmasters moved to Colorado and their deadline, they're a time zone ahead of us, the deadline is 11 p.m., or actually 10:59 p.m. on June 30th. So that's an encouragement for clubs to get their member renewal, member applications in on time. And if they enroll someone after June 30th for the month of June, it'll be too late for this incentive. But it's just some small form of thanks from Toastmasters International to all clubs in the world for increasing, for bringing in new members.
And by the way, that 11 p.m. or 10:59 p.m. on June 30th, that is a very important time. And people think, well, that's not a big deal. I mean, of course we're going to get it in on time. But you'd be surprised how many procrastinators we have in District 21. People that left stuff to the last minute and then didn't realize how much time it takes to do it. And if they miss it, the complete hour off, it's a major miss because you've lost off the opportunity. So it is something to very special attention to. Don't leave it to the last minute. Get these in early. It doesn't hurt to get them in early. It doesn't do you any good to get them in at the last minute. And it certainly can hurt you if there's a problem, technical problem, or you misunderstand 11 o'clock is versus 12 o'clock. So you think that it's 11:59 as opposed to 10:59 and you miss it by a complete hour. So it's a really important thing. We've had those problems before. But rather not have those problems this time. Let's see. So these are the club-based programs, but it's not just about clubs. It's not just about recognizing clubs that we're focusing on here. We also wanted to make sure that members get an opportunity to get some special awards. And so we have a program called the Club Sponsor Award or Membership Sponsorship. And this runs the entire year from July 1st to June 30th. So Jan, do you want to talk about that one for a minute?
Yeah, now this is an award that Toastmasters International presents automatically to any person, any member who gets credit for sponsoring. And by sponsoring a member, it doesn't mean you pay their dues. It means that you have been the person who has invited this person to Toastmasters in the first place. When the application form is submitted to Toastmasters International, what you need to remember to get this credit is on the back page, on the second page of the Toastmasters International member application. There's a section on the top and it asks for the sponsor's name. So that name needs to be written on the application and make sure that the person who submits the application to Toastmasters International does credit that person by completing that on the registration. And what the person will receive in the mail from Toastmasters International is either a blue pen for 5 members, a burgundy one for 10, or and let's see, and for sponsoring 15 new members will qualify for a special discount of 25% out of the product order from the Toastmasters online store. So this person can order something for themselves personally. There's some wonderful items that have the Toastmasters name and logo on them, going to be proudly displayed. Not expensive. Their jackets are like $55, $60 US. T-shirts are $25 US. So there's a lot of good things that you might want to purchase. And that's the, yes, must be received at headquarters by June 30th again. Are there any questions or any comments about this one?
Or about any of the programs that we have on, any of the membership building programs? So here's a question though, has anybody participated in these programs themselves?
I have my name down for, I don't know, maybe 10 or so people, but in 16 years, no prize for me. But it stays on your record permanently, on your personal profile in Toastmasters, and it is a nice acknowledgement.
It is. All right, well, something for everyone to consider. Please do so. It's a valuable, I mean, it can be a personally rewarding thing, but it's also a really important thing to know that you've helped people achieve their goals or help them find their way. So it's a positive reinforcing thing. Don't think of it as that you're going after people just to fill a gap because you want to have more members in your club. Your club meetings are stressful because you don't have enough members. That's not what the purpose is of getting members in the club. The purpose of getting members in the club is to make sure that those people are able to take advantage of what Toastmasters offers, that we've all seen ourselves, and to make it make the whole process more enjoyable for everyone as well. So it's easier to become a better speaker when you have a larger group that challenges you. Although I do have to admit that a small member club, which I am a member of one small member club, it's nice that I can do almost any role I want and practice giving speeches and do things. And I do that mostly at the small member clubs. The larger member clubs that I belong to, I just take on roles that will help out. I don't usually fill it with giving speeches because I have lots of opportunity to give it at the other club. I let other members give their speeches if they want to work on their projects. So it is what it is.
And something I could add to this, we had a nice club that it started about 5 or 6 years ago and has struggled for members year after year after year. This year they were down to 4 members, and they continue to have exciting, vibrant, optimistic meetings, meeting after meeting. They got together with some individuals from other clubs that were struggling as well. One person from another club asked if his wife might join this club because he wanted to be in it, his wife to have the opportunity to be in a club that's unique to her. She invited 2 people who became coaches for the club, and they invited members of another group who were not able to become Toastmasters because they were in a prospective club. Now, due to their efforts, they are a President's Distinguished Club because they increased by those members. There was so much excitement built in what they did. They used the opportunity of being a small club to attract people, to give them the opportunity to have a voice in a comfortable environment. But in the process, they've also built their club by having larger members, a larger member base. And what excitement that has been for that club to have achieved that.
I love those stories. I do. Those are very positive, reinforcing stories. All right, we have a quiet group here, so I'm going to move on to the next slide. So one of the things that somebody identified, I'm not sure if it was Jan, if you did it, if you'd found it. I think I'd heard it from Carol once before, but are you the one that came up with the hundreds of membership building ideas?
I don't know if it came from me to you. It came from Fred Jones to me.
Okay. I got it from another source before, so there's obviously there's other sources out there, but there are sources out there on the internet about membership building ideas, and there are literally hundreds of them. I printed off 2 copies of 2 different versions of one that says hundreds of membership building ideas using the word hundreds, H-U-N-D-R-E-D-S. And it was produced by Lark Doley years ago. And it was courtesy of Mike Rafferty, who was at that point in time a candidate for Region 5 International Director. This was a few years ago. And this one has 4 pages of ideas, and they're not numbered, but there's literally over a couple hundred of them on there. And then I have another one that is called Hundreds of Membership Building Ideas. That is the number 100 with an apostrophe S, and on how to get more guests. And this other one is 8 pages, and it's got 236 ideas about essentially how to get more guests in the door, as opposed to, which then should in and of itself turn into getting more members. And what I wanted to do was I don't have the ability to share on the screen in the half hour that we have left, or 23 minutes that we have left, to share these literally hundreds of membership building ideas. But I threw a bunch on the screen just to have some discussion and debate, and also to have some dialogue with the people on the call to see if you have additional ideas that have worked for you, either on getting guests to come in the door, or making sure that once they come in the door that they see that this is the place to join, and that they join Toastmasters. So I'd like to just open it up and see some of the ideas that you and the audience have had as far as successful ideas that on getting members or getting new members for your clubs. Jan, you want to give us a few ideas of what you've seen work?
I do have a copy of how to recruit new members, 100 ideas. And item number 1 is invite every guest to join. And that's an item of conversation for a lot of groups. There's still some groups that ask members to come back and visit a second or third time before they decide to join. That is less, in my experience, fewer people are asking guests to wait 3 meetings. If you don't invite someone, they're not as likely to join. I joined Toastmasters because I was specifically invited. I wouldn't have been brave enough to join had someone not specifically invited me. And you need to speak to what that person brings, or what that person could benefit from in that invitation. So be astute as to what they say and do that expresses where their needs are. And if you have a guest package and you get a guest information form filled in, then the VP membership can use the statement that they made to realize what that person is looking for and to address it in the invitation. Because not everyone comes, everyone comes for a different reason. And the more astute you are, the more you listen and observe, the better your chances are of that person wanting to join your group, and the better opportunity you have to fulfill their needs.
Absolutely. I think that's very important. I like that idea of inviting people. I think it's important that people feel that we get the message out. We're obligated, I think, to make sure that we share what we know about, and I think we should recognize that that's something that we've learned, that there's a powerful value in having been and joining Toastmasters. And I think we should just feel good about that, and feel good that if we think that there are people out there that would benefit from it, invite them. And you don't have to come to your club; they can come to another club, but they could be there. To say that this might be of value to you because you found it's been value to you. Wear a Toastmaster pin if you have one when you're out, so you can show that your pride, or a T-shirt, or a jacket, or a baseball cap, whatever has a Toastmaster logo on it. If you want, it really does evoke some interesting conversations, and I've had some good dialogue with people by doing so. One of the things, though, that happened to me was that I was told by my manager that I needed to improve my executive communication skills, and so that's when I looked at joining Toastmasters. But so I didn't go on my own volition, and nobody invited me, but I was kind of pushed to do it, and I begrudgingly went. And then I found out that it was probably the best thing for me. But inviting someone to come because you think it might help them is a great idea. One of the other ideas that I've heard similar to that, Jan, was something that I think it was Gene Vickers who said it, that he would invite people and say, look, I don't want you to come because I think you would do better by being a member of Toastmasters, but I'd like you to come to support me. Just come to a meeting. I'm going to be giving a speech. I'm going to be doing this role. I'd really like you to come just to be there to show support for me. So I know that I have a friend in the audience and so on. And he said when he's done that, more people are willing to come to the meeting, and more people are willing to join once they see that. And it's something that works for him, and I think that that's something we should also consider. So just inviting people because you would want them to come to support you is an idea.
Interesting. And another item I see on here that kind of follows through from that is to send every guest a thank you. And it also talks about make sure all your officers are trained. And I think that if you have training, then you might pick up on an item like that their VP membership will will realize that that's a really important part of their role, to acknowledge guests that have come, invite them back, ask them what questions they might have about the program so that they'll feel included, because the person may come and say they'll return. Oftentimes they do that. They'll say that they enjoy it, they'll come back, but they're not saying it because maybe they mean it at that moment, but things change once they leave the room.
Yeah.
So to acknowledge them afterward. And if your club is not the club that they prefer, if they're actually visiting more than one club and they're testing the waters, then be gracious to them and say, if our club suits you, we'd be more than glad to have you as a member. If it doesn't suit you, can we help you find another club? Because that's the benefit to the member. It's not about what's best for the club. It's about what's best for the member, and that will suit you, serve you in good stead in the long term.
Absolutely. We do need to be looking at members and making sure that they're getting the respect and support that they need. Some of the other ideas that we had in here was around open houses, and this is something that we've had a lot of discussion around. I've been involved in a lot of discussion around it, about how many open houses should you have. I've heard somebody say every meeting needs to be an open house. And while that's true in the absolute sense of it, or it's too much effort. So you should be trying to put a special effort into a meeting. I think in my mind that should be an open house. And I think that most clubs should look at having an open house once a month. And the intent of the open house is to let members feel that we're asking them to invite friends and family and acquaintances and people that they know to a meeting so that they can see what the meeting is like and just feel welcome and have some food, have a special keynote speaker, have a special session. Something like that is to make it special, just a little bit more special than normal. And if you get a bunch of guests, that's great. If you only get one guest, then that's still a bonus. It's still nice to have that. But just want to make sure that you have that on a regular basis. And I don't think you need to do it every week. I think if you do that, then it's not an open house. It just becomes a regular meeting. So I do think that it's really valuable to have an open house regularly, just to help get new people in, get guests in the door. I think that's a positive thing. Jan, some ideas?
Well, I'm thinking about when you get somebody in the door, or when you even have somebody inquiring or looking up your club, it's always a good process to review your own materials. Go outside of your club, look at your meeting space. Is there a sign outside? Do people know how to find your meeting space? Look at your website. How inviting is it on the front page? Make sure that there are clear directions. If you've moved your club or something has changed about your location, make sure you update it. And both on the website and in any brochures you have, in any literature that you hand out, make sure that think of yourself as a stranger reading that for the first time. And does that tell the information that person really needs to know? And is it exciting? And on your website, make sure it's personalized. There is an opportunity to put photos on your website, and many clubs do this. They may not, some clubs may do it for every meeting, but every time there's something special, like you have an induction of a new member, or if you have someone attain an award, take a picture of them with your club banner, put it on the website so that people looking in from outside will know that you're really active. Sometimes clubs I've seen have done that, but they have images from 2015.
I've seen that. I've seen that quite a bit. And you brought to mind the whole idea of moments of truth. And it sounds like, there's two areas that I wanted to address on that, what you just said. One of them is the Moments of Truth itself, which is something that all clubs should conduct on a regular basis, at least twice a year, not more frequently. Not the reason is that it just provides you with that level of introspection about, is your website good? Is your meeting room, is it set up properly? Is the signage appropriate? And one of the things that's on this item, the screen here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth item down, second from the bottom, ask your guests for feedback after a meeting, and listen to what they liked and didn't like, and make changes as appropriate. That one is, if you ask the guests, what did you like about the meeting, and did you find it easy? Was it easy? How did you hear about us? What was the process like for you? And if they come back and said, it was okay, it was a little difficult to find the club, it was difficult to find our way in here, I loved the meeting, it was very exciting, or if they come back and they say, yeah, it was okay, then you didn't hit all the right things. And you might want to drill down a little further just to find out what it is that's not working, and also just make notes of things that are working and make sure that you continue to do the things that are working well.
And actually that reminds me of something too, Sean, that I've discussed with some of our listeners, that when you accept a guest in your meeting, and when you accept a new member in your meeting, you need to remember that the wonderful dynamics that you have set up in your meeting, the culture that you have set in the meeting, automatically changes when a new person enters. That person is not an outsider into your meeting. That person is a new, welcome person, and you need to change your club dynamics to suit your new membership base and all the people that are there. Because oftentimes if people are welcome to a club, but they don't feel that they are valued, that they have a voice, that there's anything that anyone else will change based on their being there, then they're not going to feel really welcome to that club.
Do you have an example of what you can do, or what a club should do?
Well, I say be prepared to continue learning. All of the members in the club, whether they've been in Toastmasters for a month or 20 years, we all need to think about the fact that we are one of many, and that's our goal, not for us to have an unequal voice to anyone else.
Okay. Now, one of the other items that I wanted to throw out there, this is another one that is somewhat controversial. And I don't know, maybe just ask people, regarding table topics, I've heard that some clubs have a limit of one table topic given to a guest only, so that only one guest gets a table topic, no matter how many guests you have. And so if they're only allowed one, you do that, there's actually a problem. And I'm getting some feedback there. Hang on. I'm not sure if it's coming from you, Jan, but I'm getting some feedback.
I don't know. Michael Martin has sent a chat. Treat everyone. Oops, came and went. Treat everyone who is a member or just joining like family. Yes.
That's true. That's a very good point.
I do agree, because it is a family, and family changes when you get a new person in the family by marriage or a new child, whatever.
And
family changes.
Include them on the agenda. Give them very soon roles which are suitable for them, and help them with it.
So what kind of roles would you give them? If they're a new member, I agree. New members, they should be given roles, and you should identify roles that are aligned with them. And that's one of the VP Ed's responsibilities, to make sure that you bring them up through the meeting itself on a controlled way, if possible.
Because they feel included then.
Right.
You know, they feel I'm working too.
Yeah. I agree. I want to go back to my question about table topics. Does anyone here does anyone in the audience have a club where they only allow one table topic for a guest? Like only one guest has a table topic in a meeting?
Well, I guess if you've got 10 guests, no, then you allow only 2 to speak. But if you've got only 2 guests, then it's a possibility they both might join.
Yeah, I agree. Celine, did you want to speak? I see you have again.
I do. I have been doing that for a while now. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Now,
Good, good. So I have a few things about new guests. The first one is make sure to chat with guests, because sometimes people come for a quick goal. They might come to polish their speech, the public speaking for a wedding, son's wedding or daughter's wedding. So they have 6 months or 3 months to do that. So when they come to our door, we have to ask them the goal. What are you here to achieve? And right away, we have to assign them a mentor, somebody who can help them achieve that goal. And the second thing is to get members, we have to have our Toastmasters business card ready. Because we all go outside, we are somewhere when we meet the people. So by having this card, our business card ready, we can give it to people, talk to them about Toastmasters, and they can go to the website and find the closest club to them. And they can join if they want to, but at least that will give them the opportunity to go to the Toastmasters website and they know what is going on and know the benefits of public speaking. And the other thing is, when you have an exciting meeting, when your meeting is, the table topics are very creative, the guests who are visiting would like to come back, definitely. It's happened in our club when people come and they are very excited and they come back. And if we don't follow up right away, that excitement dies. They feel like, I'm not connecting to anyone, and they don't come back. Some come back later, but they don't come back the following Thursday. So we just have to follow up right away, as James said, we have to send them a thank you note, thank you for coming. Right away that night, after, when we finish our meeting at night, at 9 o'clock, at 9:30 or at 10, send them a thank you note, and they will be thinking about us. And there are talking about education, there are so many ideas in Toastmasters magazine that we can go through and use these ideas to improve our club.
I like it. I agree.
Okay.
excellent ideas.
Yeah.
Any other additional ideas?
And Michael said too, when you have guests, invite them to speak ahead of time. Let them know, even if, I think you might mean, Michael, that you let them know if you're corresponding with them ahead of time. But at the beginning of the meeting, every time you have a guest in the room, you need to be cognizant of explaining some of the roles that you have in the meeting, and making sure that you just take another moment of time to do that, and to explain to guests, if there's a guest in the room and you say you invite them to speak, they don't have to, they're entitled to say no, and but you will ask them for guest comments at the end of the meeting. So I think that's helpful, unless you want to unmute and chime in directly, Michael. Here we go.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine with everything. So
Okay, now I see Michael is unmuted. I just thought that he was gonna.
Okay, I understood, Micah.
Thanks.
Michael, did you want to make any comments? Can't hear you. Okay, we're going to move on. We got we've only got a couple minutes left, so we're going to move on to the end. Some of the resources that are available. We have resources that are available that we've talked about, they've shown during the meeting here. His mic's not working. Okay, I got that. Thank you for that, Mike. Michael, I appreciate that. So some of the resources, hundreds of membership ideas, building ideas. Really, if you just Google it, there are a couple of sources out there that I found, and they're very useful ideas. So feel free to plagiarize them, borrow them, take advantage of them. Also, the Toastmasters website, if you're a member, this is only for people who are members, because you do have to log into Toastmasters to have access. But there's a membership building section to the website, and it has the programs. It has lots of information about the programs themselves, both the membership programs that Toastmasters has for the clubs, as well as the individual programs, and it has additional information on that. And I'm going to just see if I'm going to try to share my screen here a little bit broader, but I was going to take you to let me see if I can take you here, show you the right website here. So we have, oops, get the right screen. So if you go to the District 21 website, hopefully you can see my screen right now, but what I'm sharing, the d21toastmasters.org website, you can go to the contest and promotion section, and that has some information about the programs themselves, how they work. So you can find out about the different programs, like the Smedley Award, the COP Award, Talk Up Toastmasters, and of course the current one, so you have access to that information. If you do want a copy of this hundreds of membership building ideas, I do have copies of that electronically, and I can provide them to you. Just send me an email, and I'll send it out to you. My email address is vrcompanions@gmail.com. And there is, as I said, there is the information on Toastmasters International website. If you log in, you can go and you can get the detailed information from there about the various programs and some more additional background on that. So all of that information is available to you at any time that you want to go look it up. Just let us know if you need some of the handouts or want to do some search on this on your own, you'll find the information. So with that, we've actually had quite a bit of question and answers, and we're at the top of the hour, so just wanted to point out that Seminar Sundays continue on to the end of June. Next week will be on delegation. Following week will be on summer meetings and ideas for summer meetings and so on. So you take a look, stay tuned. We'll be sending out every week on Thursday or Friday. Usually.
I have a question.
Sorry?
I have a question. This is Celine.
Yes.
How does it work with the fees, the membership dues, if you belong to 2 clubs?
I'm sorry. How does that work?
For a member who belongs to 2 clubs, how does it work with the dues, the member fee, the member fees?
Oh, the membership. Well, the members have to pay for both clubs, but they only pay. A new member only pays one time only. They pay a fee to Toastmasters to join. As the initial, I can't remember what it's called. It's like an initiation fee, but that gets you access to the getting your name on record. So that's a one-time event. But you do pay the clubs themselves. You have to pay dues to a club to be a member of a club. So if you belong to more than one club, you do pay the dues to a club on an annual basis. That one-time fee is only the first time you join, and it's only for the one club. If you join 2 clubs at the same time, you still only pay that one-time fee once to one club.
Okay, so TIF is once, but for both clubs, you pay fees to both clubs.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's to cover 2 things, because you still have to pay for the $7.50 US per month for membership to Toastmasters International. That's US per month. That's done for every club you belong to, and so I pay that for each of the clubs I belong to in my membership fees. And then the other, everything over and above that $7.50 US is for things like local expenses. It could be for rent, it could be for food, it could be for a party, it could be for banners and things like that. So they have to collect additional fees, and that you have to pay to the club directly.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. So as I said, the schedule for the rest of the year is up. For the rest of the Toastmaster year is here. You also will get emails weekly if you're on the email distribution that will tell you about which ones the program is coming up. We try to get those out on Friday morning, so you'll have that information. And if you have any further questions, feel free to contact me. Again, my email address is brcompanions@gmail.com. And with that, I want to thank Jan Ireland, Club Growth Director, DTM, for her support and help during this seminar Sunday. Thank you, Jan.
Thanks, Sean. And everyone.
Thank you, Jen.
And thank you all for joining. Have a
Thank
lovely
you.
meeting. This meeting will be, the recording for this meeting will be posted to the District 21 website as well, so you'll be able to have a chance to listen in if you forgot or missed anything you wanted to recap. So thank you all for joining, and have yourselves a good evening.